Breath of the Wild is a pretty good game. There's a lot to do, and it's a Zelda game, I guess, which is a good thing. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and actually, you know what? No. This game is trash, because yeah, it's one of my favorites, but not my absolute favorite, which is Minecraft, of course. So in order to make it so that I never have to stop playing Minecraft to play that absolute garbage, I'm going to make a few of the Breath of the Wild mechanics, namely the runes, into Minecraft. And, I'd ask you to subscribe, but actually, most of the people watching my newer videos are already subscribed, so, thanks. So for those of you who don't know, in Breath of the Wild, there are a total of 4 runes, each of which can do a different thing. There are remote bombs, which are bombs you can place and then detonate remotely. There's Stasis, which allows you to freeze enemies and objects. There's, Cryonis, probably mispronouncing that. But what that does is it lets you do stuff with ice, like make pillars and water. And finally, there's Magnesis, which lets you move metal objects around remotely. I'm going to start with Remote Bomb because it seems like the easiest. Alright, I have a start here. As you can see, we've had some failed attempts. But what you can do is you can use this carrot on a stick, it summons a bomb, and then you can right-click again and it explodes. However, in Breath of the Wild, usually what happens is you throw the bomb in the direction you're looking. So I'm going to have to incorporate some good old shoot facing to make that work. Alright, a little bit of work later, and it seems to be doing it. As you can see, it falls down and then kind of teleports forward, which obviously is not quite right. But as far as I can tell, it's actually technically flying forward smoothly. It just takes a second to update visually. So I'm pretty sure that it's actually working in reality. It just looks like it's not. So that rune was, I would say, probably the simplest. I'm a little bit concerned about the rest of them. I think they're, in general, going to be significantly more complicated. And the smart people out there watching this are probably thinking, hey, that sounds like an opportunity to use raycasting. I think the main reason they're going to be more complicated is because we're going to have to detect where the player is looking. And we could do that, but honestly, setting up raycasting is kind of a lot of work, and it's something that I don't really want to do. So what I'm thinking about doing for those is using a bit of a strange technique. So what I'm thinking we can actually do is use a snowball. And so what this command block is doing is it's making the snowball just have no gravity, which means that it travels in a perfectly straight line. As a side note, this is actually really fun, and I can't believe I've never tried doing this before. So if this works, then Cryonis will be a lot easier than I had anticipated, because this snowball technique is a lot easier than I had thought. But let's see if it works. It works. Great. Alright. Now I've made it also so you can remove the ice. So, we can throw it. That's not right. Alright, there we go. Now it's working again. It is still not working. Oh, I know the problem. Hold on. Okay, now it seems to actually be working. So what's going on in there now is that when you throw the snowball, it summons an armor stand, which makes the ice pillar, and then you throw the snowball. Alright, and when it gets close, it tags the armor stand, and it tags it with a tag that lets the armor stand know that it should destroy the ice and then kill itself. Okay, and this is the point at which I have to decide, do I want to make the still hard but not quite as hard rune next, which would be Stasis, or the extra hard one, which is probably Magnesis? Well, you know, I love dodging my problems, so I guess let's do the easy one. Okay, we have a pig here, as you can see. If we throw a snowball at it, nothing happens. Why is nothing happening? I just never updated this to check if I'm holding a Stasis snowball rather than a Cryonis snowball. Alright, now, hey, look at that. As you can see, it is completely frozen in place. For forever, pretty much. And with that, it actually occurs to me that I should be using a scoreboard objective rather than a tag, because that will make it easier to make some kind of cooldown. Or not cooldown, more like duration of the effect. Let's see if that's working. It's alive, it is dead. And it's alive again. Perfect. The other thing I would like to do with Stasis, which I think will be probably significantly harder, is in the game, when you apply Stasis to something, any time you hit it, sort of like the knockback from that damage, adds up over the duration of the Stasis. So if you hit it 5 times while it's in Stasis, then when it comes out of Stasis, it essentially gets knocked back a lot more than it would if you just hit it once. So how am I going to do that? Well, that's a good question, and it's one we'll have to figure out. So I have an idea for how this is going to happen. What I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to have it set up such that when you punch the pig, what happens is, much like shoot facing, there will be an armor stand at 0, 0, 0 that will get teleported forward in the direction that I'm facing. Now, both the pig and the armor stand will have scoreboard objectives for Stasis X, Stasis Y, and Stasis Z. And when I punch the pig, the armor stand, it teleports forward, right? And then its scoreboard objective for each of X, Y, and Z, it gets set to its position for X, Y, and Z. Next, the pig's scoreboard objectives have the scoreboard objectives of the armor stand added to them. And finally, when the stasis wears off, the pig's motion is set from its scoreboard objectives. So definitely a bit confusing. Here's hoping it works. So I've gone ahead and I've set that up. We have a pig here. Let's see if it's working. It's stasis. We can hit it a bunch of times. Okay, hopefully it won't die this time. Give it stasis, hit it a few times. Well, that's not right. So I thought to check this out, I would try looking at the scores. And actually, the first thing I notice is that for the armor stand, it's set to 500, which is a little bit strange because it should be 0, because it's supposed to be at 0, 0, 0. And what that's causing, I think, is, as you can see, we freeze this and its score starts counting up really fast to the point where it gets so high that the computer just can't even handle it. And it just doesn't give it any motion at all because its motion would be too high. Oh my god. You know what it is? One of these commands, this one here. See, I'm teleporting it to 0, 0, 0. But for X and Z, for some reason, if you say 0 with no decimal, it defaults to 0.5. I think it's trying to move it to the center of the block, but we actually want it at exactly 0, 0, 0. But if we do that, first of all, the scoreboard objective on the right, you can see, is functioning correctly. And second of all, if we freeze it, it seems to be counting up like a normal amount, and it's working. Okay. Yeah, I swear, every single time I try to set up shoot facing, something like that happens, and it's so annoying because at this point, it's something that I should be able to remember, but I can never remember it, and then it breaks. So that leaves last Magnesis, which I think is almost certainly going to be by far the hardest. So the reason for that is we have to be able to move something around at a variable distance. So what do I mean by that? What I'm trying to say is, say I'm standing like here, relatively close to this block, and I pick it up with the Magnesis, and I turn, and I put it down, and it would probably go about there, right? So I would be teleporting it like 2 blocks in front of me, or probably cloning it, I guess, because it's a block. But then if it were further away, and I was here, then I would be cloning it like 7 blocks in front of me, which is really hard. The reason for that is because the caret notation, these guys, which specify coordinates relative to where you're looking, they don't really support variable numbers very well. Like, I can say this, which is 10 blocks in front of me, but I can't, say, x and change x around. it has to be a number. So, ironically enough, given the lengths to which I went to avoid using raycasting, I think that we're going to have to use some raycasting. So the specific way that I think that's going to be incorporated is, say I have my block here, right? And I use my Magnesis carrot on a stick, right? And we'll have an entity then raycast forward until it reaches the block, and every time it teleports forward, it'll increase a scoreboard objective, so that when it reaches the block, we'll know how far away from the block I was. Then, whenever I turn, I guess we can teleport a different entity forward, increasing its scoreboard objective every step of the way until its scoreboard objective reaches that of the first one when we teleported there, so that when it stops, it's the same distance away as this block is. And then we can clone from there to there pretty easily. Alright, before we go any further, I have to address the elephant in the room, which is this skin. I was playing with some friends recently, and we all got matching egg skins for some reason, and I forgot to change it back. If you're wondering why I was able to change my skin in the middle of a recording session, it's because it wasn't actually one recording session. The Magnesis did turn out to be rather difficult, and when I was recording before, it got late, and I was tired, so I decided I would just work on it off camera or whatever. Anyway, the point is, Magnesis is actually done, and it was just as hard as I thought it would be. All of this is working on it. Admittedly, most of it is raycasting. One of the biggest problems actually that I had was originally I was using one tag for one of the raycasting entities, I had it Magnesis Ray, and then I realized I was going to have multiple Magnesis Rays, so I made it Magnesis Ray Start, and then I didn't change a bunch of things, and I spent forever like, why isn't it working? And it turns out it's because I didn't change the tag for all of them. But now it is working exactly as intended, and honestly it looks really, really, really good. I'm so happy with that. But what would a Zelda game be without a dungeon to work through? So I'm just gonna build a quick little series of puzzles, really, not a complete dungeon, to showcase everything that we've done here. So yeah, I'll be back in a minute to show that to you. And done. Look at that. I realize now you can see the ice on the bottom of it. Whatever, it's fine. I didn't actually end up using the ice. But on the inside, everything is squeaky clean. So we have a series of puzzles here. To start off, we gotta get up here, but we can't. There's this platform. Maybe we can use this somehow, except we can't get up here either from it. But since it's made of iron, we can, in fact, move it there very carefully and hop right up here. But now we'd like to jump across, but we can't make it because the ceiling is too low. Luckily, since there's a pool of water, we have the ability to make ourselves a nice pillar of ice that we can walk over. And, actually, you might be able to make this jump. But, say, in Zelda games, you can't jump that far. So really, we've got to find some other way to get over there. But what's this, a gap in the ceiling? Maybe we could put something up there, like a bomb. And we set that off. Down comes the gravel, forming a nice bridge. But the guard is blocking the exit. But if we give it stasis and hit it repeatedly, and then let it fly back, it will burn in the lava, opening the path. Yeah, there you go. Nice little dungeon to show off that. Oh, I hate that. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm legitimately very, 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 very happy with this one. This dungeon especially, honestly, I think that all came together in a way that was fun and used the things meaningfully, which I know is silly because this dungeon was by no means the point of this video, and yet it ended up being one of my favorite things. So that is nice. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, like or subscribe, although as I mentioned, you're probably already subscribed, so thanks for that. Anyway, I will see you guys all very soon. Bye.